Hey guys, welcome on in. If you're interested in getting more political forecasting, analysis, and commentary, you can click that subscribe button. Heading into this one, I thought I'd make a discussion on who we feel is going to win the 2018 Senate seat in the state of West Virginia. And what spurred me to make this particular video today is the fact that we're getting some more relevant polling data that just came out. So I thought I'd make a discussion on this and why it looks so good for incumbent Joe Manchin on the Democrat side. He's going to be challenged by Republican primary winner Patrick Morrisey. In that poll that just came out, and it wasn't a partisan poll, and we had a larger sample size, and Joe Manchin was up by 13 points, better than the poll that came out previously where he was down by 2 points, but that was a Republican poll, so you don't necessarily take that quite as seriously as a nonpartisan poll where Manchin is now up 13 points. And you can see when you go back before the primary process happened, Manchin was pulling up 14 points over Morrisey, so more in line with that particular result, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the video screen. But moving on to the left here, we have the Democratic primary results and the Republican primary results here that happened more recently in 2018, and Joe Manchin grabbing about 111,000 votes. The Democratic incumbent, he's got that name recognition, but on the Democratic side, wasn't expected to be a very competitive race, and still in the Democratic primary, we had 160,000 voters turn out in comparison over to the Republican primary, where it was a three-horse race between a number of guys here that were really battling each other out through this process. And on the Republican side, usually when you get these more competitive primaries, that is a bigger incentive for people to turn out. And they still had about 25,000 less votes than the Democratic primary side, where about 136,000 voters turned out. So already a positive side on the Democrats here, way outperforming the Republicans in terms of the number of voters in their particular primary, and Joe Manchin by far and away getting more votes than any other candidate here on either side. And not a big surprise when you're incumbent, you have that name recognition, and Joe Manchin, somewhat popular certainly throughout the state of West Virginia. He's a very conservative Democrat, which helps him in a sense here in a state like West Virginia, where we have seen can go very Republican. So moving on over to the right-hand side of the screen, this is how the state of West Virginia voted back in 2012 when Joe Manchin was running against John Morrisey. So as we can see, Manchin got over 60% of the vote, winning by right around 25% of the vote there back in 2012. In 2012, wasn't a great year by any means across the board for Democratic politicians and candidates. And that wasn't the case here in West Virginia. Joe Manchin going on to win at the end of the day by about 160,000 votes over the Republican challenger. A great sign for him back in 2012. In 2018, you only expect better things from the Democrats' side of things, because right now the Republicans control the executive branch, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and things just have a way of evening themselves out over time. Once the Republicans are in charge of everything, that ignites the Democratic voters to come out and support their candidates, and vice versa. When the Democrats were in control of everything, more Republican turnout was to be expected, and that's what ended up happening. But even during this swing that we had where Republicans started to regain control of the different chambers, Joe Manchin was still, back in 2012, able to perform very well. He was the incumbent there. He's going to be the incumbent again, which will also help him in his race in this West Virginia Senate map here in 2018. So that's all the data that we have on the board here that we wanted to talk about. The fact that the Democratic primary in 2018 had about 25,000 more voters than on the Republican side. Joe Manchin absolutely demolishing everyone in terms of that total vote in the primary on either side. In 2012, he performed very well. And just looking at the polling data, the most recent poll that just came out, it was a larger sample size. It wasn't a partisan poll, and Manchin up 13 percentage points. Being that incumbent, having that name recognition, it just seems overwhelming evidence right now that Joe Manchin is probably going to go ahead and keep his Senate seat in the state of West Virginia, in what's one of those states that Republicans really felt like they maybe could make some inroads and pick up a seat. I'm just highly skeptical of that narrative. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video, guys. Again, if you want more political forecasting, analysis, and commentary, you can click that subscribe button. And for any other race predictions, you can check those out on our YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping on in. We hope to see you guys in future videos. Bye.